On top of everything the Arizona Cardinals are dealing with, injury, performance, coaching, and otherwise, let's add something else to the list. Kyler Murray may not play Monday night. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're in the misery, baby. We're still in it, and we're adding one more thing to it, but I'm going to tell you why it doesn't really matter. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for the highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward Mazda. Move and be moved. Today, it's not just going to be my big dumb face. It's going to be spewing. I'm bringing in my buddy, Cam Cox. You know him. Look, there he is. If I can do things. 12 News, all over that. Cam, what's up, bro? How's it going?
Alex, first of all, I'm fired up to talk to you. You know It's a crazy week when I get a text from Alex and be like, hey, man, let's get weird. Let's talk some football. I just know a lot of things are going on in your brain. I know you got things to say. I can't wait to hear them. I love being a part of this. And I also want to shout out to the decor behind you. Your commitment to the audio, I love to see it. I hope your viewers know that too as well.
I appreciate it. But these little jerks in the comments thinks this is orange. This is red, bro. What are we doing here? Anyways,
listen, I was almost going to make a Halloween joke and be like, hey, man, I'm glad you decorated for Halloween for the podcast. That's cool. Yeah. It looks orangish, but I bet it's red. I bet it's red.
I appreciate it wholeheartedly. Let's just hope the Arizona Cardinals offense can dress up like a functional offense for a game to save the season. What if we start there?
There we
We're
go.
going to talk about a lot of stuff today, okay? So you're telling me there's a chance. There's always a chance going into week 9, irrespective of record, that it's not 1-6 or 0-7, especially with the Cardinals' point differentiation the way it is, okay? Final segment. Defensive violence. This is what I've been preaching. This is on Nick Rallis to right the ship and for the Cardinals to lean in to what they're good at. I'm going to get your thoughts on that. But first, we thought up until today that Kyler Murray was going to be a shoo-in to start Monday night in his hometown or his home state in Texas. And then we find out, and Cam, you were there so you can add to it, that they're moving quarterback availability to speak to the media to, quote, later in the week, which is tomorrow, which is exactly what they've done when Jacoby Brissett has started the last 2 weeks. Cameron, what the hell are we doing here? Who's starting Monday night?
How's your blood pressure?
Dude, it's like a joint mental illness that we all share in the Arizona Cardinals world. It's like we're going Looney Tunes midway through the season.
Let me tell you something, man. Sometimes all you can do is laugh at a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like that's been the best medicine through all this, like through these close losses and all. And when they found like invented new ways to like lose a football game is what it feels like. All you can do is like laugh because of how many things we've seen with this organization over the years. You're like, oh, just another thing? Okay, cool. I'm just going to make a joke about it because that's what we need all today. All right, the thing with Kyler. Here's the deal. So I watched him practice Tuesday when they came back from the bye week. That was the first practice they had since the bye week, okay? We were out there today, obviously, too, as well. Everything I saw Tuesday, everything. And I want to preference this by when you read tweets from myself, other reporters who are out there at practice, Darren Urban with the Cardinals, we only watch the first 20 minutes of practice. That's all we're allowed to watch. And for those 20 minutes, they do warm-ups. They do stretching. They do individual practices where they go with their position coaches, do different drills. Quarterbacks, you've seen the video. You know, they throw the ball to assistant coaches. Then they get some of their receivers out there, and we see them get loose and run some routes on air is what they call it. That's what we watch, all right? Tuesday, everything I was watching with Kyler screamed to me that he was going to practice. He was energetic. He was fired up. He was running around the field. Every drill, he was first in. He was moving around well. To me, watching that while our cameras were rolling, it screamed to me like a quarterback who was going to play. And that's been the report going into this week from obviously ESPN, Jonathan Gannon. Nothing's changed. Now, he hasn't come out and said Kyler's going to start, but he says if he's healthy, ready to go, he will play. Today, they moved the availability. Why? Because they can. Kyler still has 2 more chances to talk to the media, whether it's tomorrow or Saturday. Yes, this is on par with what they've done the previous weeks when Jacoby Brissett has started. Kyler didn't do his normal Wednesday availability when his status was up in the air. So, yes, this was on par. But as somebody who's watched Kyler Murray practice, I know today he was throwing to some other receivers. Like I said, we're there for warm-ups. We're there for, when they're just warming up, getting ready for practice. Everything so far to me is trending towards he's going to play. I don't see how he misses this game. He's never lost at AT&T Stadium. So to me, today was gamesmanship in my eyes. Do they have to tell you today he's going to play? No. Do they have to tell you tomorrow he's going to play? No. Why let Dallas prepare a little differently these past couple of days? Push it to when you can, when Saturday. So that's how I took today. I didn't have my tinfoil hat on and was rolling with all these different ideas. I can understand why fans would think that. But like I said, with my eyes and what I saw this week, it screams like a quarterback who is more than ready to play. I watched him run around. I didn't see any limping. So when I was out there, he looked like a quarterback that's going to play. And today, them moving his availability this week just is probably some gamesmanship in my eyes.
You know what's awesome gamesmanship? Winning football games you're supposed to win. I don't care about this stuff. I care about everything you said. Like, it's like Michael Bitt, it goes back to the leaking to, radio people about there were false reports. It's like, hey, it's like Pinky in the Brain trying to take over the damn world when you can't win a football game.
Which is, by the way, an underrated cartoon.
Yeah.
It's great mindless TV when you're a kid.
Right. That, Animaniacs, all that stuff. If you don't know what that is, get the hell off my podcast. No, I'm playing. So, Cam, if the week started, if this was all you saw and you weren't there Tuesday, you were on the moon, who would you say would be starting if the game was Sunday and you saw what you saw today with Simi Fehoko and Xavier Weaver getting balls from Kyler Murray and not Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride?
Listen, Alex, I understand where your question is going, and I understand where fans like to think. I think it's kind of weird too as well. I'll say this. I will be surprised if Kyler does not play.
Okay.
I will be really shocked.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go back to him. I think they have to go back to him. If there was a week to go back to him, this is the week. So from everything that I've seen and what I've heard, I would be shocked if he doesn't play this Monday night.
And I don't want to do this segment. Like, this is not something
but Alex,
this is crazy that we're even talking about this.
No, but you speak for the fans, and that's important. We all do too as well. You know what I mean? And so I've read social media. I've seen the comments. I've seen people's tweets. So I understand the questions it leads to. I just try and you do as well too. We just try and root things in reality.
Yeah.
And in my reality, I would be shocked if Kyler Murray doesn't play, and today feels like gamesmanship. That's all.
And I'm going to ask you the question.
Okay.
I've been on this show for the last few days. I've big-brained it. Once in a while, I say something smarter. At least I convince myself that it is. Jacoby Brissett should be starting, and it's 100% the right move for Kyler Murray to be starting. Both can be true because of not just the paycheck, not just the optics that he's QB1. They lost both games, even though they were against much better opponents. The big one for me is if the Cardinals are going to dig themselves out of this hole, Kyler Murray's special is the only way they're going to be able to do it. Sure, it's more of the Hail Mary, higher ceiling, lower floor option, but that's the only way that they're going to murderers row their way through the rest of this schedule and actually maintain relevancy again instead of saying goodbye to Kyler Murray at the end of the season if they only win 4 games.
Yeah, Alex, listen, a lot can be true in this situation. You know what I mean? Kyler Murray can be a better quarterback. Jacoby Brissett operates this offense better. Those two can be true, right? You know what I mean? Like, Kyler Murray can have more talent. Jacoby can be better at pushing the ball down the field. Like, two things can all be true at the same time, right? And I think that's where we're at right now. That offense, I don't know how anybody can see it any differently. And I know people get upset with what's come out of JG's mouth and Drew Petzing's mouth. They're never going to throw anybody under the bus. I'm sorry, fans. You're never going to get that answer from them by any means. You're going to get a lot of coach speak. It just is what it is. We all saw it. We all saw the eye test. The numbers are there. This offense under Jacoby has operated better and has pushed the ball downfield more consistently than we've seen in a while, and with the better than we've seen all year long. That is a fact. Here's what's also a fact. Kyler Murray is their starting quarterback. He's their QB1. He's the guy they're paying. He's the guy they got to figure out if they're going to go forward or not with him, no matter what. They brought in Jacoby to be that solid backup. And he showed he's more than capable of being a solid backup, if not a bridge guy, if you need someone to play a bunch of games, whatever. You know what I mean? They're going to go back to Kyler and give him more than another chance to figure this thing out, to figure this offense out. A lot of things we're going to look for whenever he takes over the reins once again. One, how does the ball go down the field? Are we going to see the limited number of checkdowns that we've seen the past couple of weeks? Will the ball be spread around like we've seen the past couple of weeks? The one question I have not got answered yet, Alex, is the leash on Kyler. Like, what's the give and take? How long are they going to let him go? Say this offense looked like it did early in the season and it just nothing works. You know what I mean? Are they going to give him a few games? Are they going to give him more than a few games? Is it going to be a few quarters? How long is that trust factor now too as well? Because we're at the point, Alex, where I think I heard you say this earlier. It doesn't matter. And I don't mean that from a sense that people don't care what happens, but like they are 2-5. Bottom line, it doesn't matter. Coaching, who's playing defensive end, safety, they got to win football games.
Yeah.
Like this was the year the rebuild was over. You know, the honeymoon is over. They built the roster and sold us all this, sold fans all this, that this season would be different and that this team would find ways to win. I agree with JG. They are close. But that's why I'm not so hung up on who the quarterback is right now, because this team has bigger issues. And it's winning, and it's learning how to win. And if they keep losing, it's not only gonna it's not gonna matter. Like it's you have other issues to address, and if they have to figure out a way to put some wins together, or the other decisions, it's just gonna be a disaster.
Yeah,
it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, and we'll pivot to the defense here in a second. Let's put it very bluntly. If Kyler Murray can't take advantage of this Division 1A North Dakota City Valley State defense that the Cowboys have,
Alex, that's an NFL team. That's it.
I understand that, but in like under the guise and comparison of other defenses to this one, Russell Wilson put up a 40 burger. Okay, this is one where if the Cardinals cannot score 25 plus points, I'm not saying put up 50. Put up 25 points, something like that, look competent. I'm just like
they did lose to the Titans.
Yeah. Well, they put up 21 points in 17 minutes or 20 minutes, and they just didn't score again. Like with Kyler specifically, all of the Kyler haters must hate that it's Dallas, because this is where he does 350 all-purpose, 4 total touchdowns. They win by 10 points, and then you go on to Seattle and you're having the conversation differently, because remember, once he is a healthy scratch, that's a wrap. And I think they're going to go the longest leash possible to keep that from happening. But at some point, you got to put the best product on the field, because there's like, pride in that as an NFL head coach and organization. Once he's number one, clean jersey, playing as many snaps as me, he's gone. So
I mean, Alex, that's
as long as possible for that to happen.
That topic is, to me, down the road.
Yeah, for sure.
Fans want to have it now. To me, the conversation is very week to week. You know what I mean? Who gives you the best chance to win?
Fantastic.
And that's the issue right now. Who gives you the best chance to win? Listen, as great as that, not great, as good as that offense moved with Jacoby, right? They didn't win the football games.
Right.
That's why it doesn't necessarily matter right now. They got to win football games, and then you can be like, all right, that quarterback gives us the best chance to win games. So to me, this is the most important Cardinals regular season game in a long time, because we are going to get some answers, and there are going to be some realities. We're going to get to see if Kyler's under center in there against a defense that they should work. I mean, the Cowboys defense can't stop a nosebleed. So it's like, if this is a defense that you can take advantage of, that you can run the ball on with backup running backs and an offensive line that I still think's got some maulers up front, they just haven't put it together right. You should be able to move the ball down the field on this defense no matter what. Now, that offense is a different story. Nick Ross and the defense, we'll get to that. They got their own challenges. But offensively, you should be able to move the ball against these guys. And if you don't, and if you struggle, and if it's a one-score game, and a lot of these are what-ifs, you know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of questions that we'll get answers to very quickly in this game, and they'll be able to address moving forward. If Kyler goes out there and plays well enough to win, they're in it again. He's clearly going to get more shots, and he's the guy because, if the offense does well, he gives you the best chance to win. But if it's another loss and they struggle and things just aren't going well, now you really start to ask yourself, okay, what can we do to win football games? Who's the guy? Who's the guy at this position? Who's the guy at that position? I don't think they're going to fire JG by any means. I like JG. I like his coaching style. But, I mean, you start asking questions about him, unfortunately. But, and then again, they got to win the game. But Cardinal fans are going to get a lot of answers in this game as to what the future looks like in my eyes. That's why I think this game is so important.
See, yeah, and I know we're going really long here, but here's the thing, and it's just serendipitous.
Alex. That's what we do. You said get weird.
You ready for Big Brain? I don't know what goes on over at 12. You guys do a fantastic job, but Cam, we got something special here. This is it. This is the line for Monday night. You're not looking for answers at this point in year 7. You're looking for confirmation that what you've seen is real.
Sure.
You do not want to see that confirmation. You're looking for confirmation that he's not a guy that can get you to where you need to go. And that's hopefully something that you don't see on Monday night or any other time this year, and the Cardinals go on this massive run. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Sorry, Russ Jackson, we're going 6 minutes over. Defense. This is the strength of the team. It's been the strength of the team for the last 6 years, the most constant side of the ball, irrespective of who was wearing the uniforms. Is there an overdrive that this defense has to be able to keep the Cardinals in relevancy for the rest of the season? We'll discuss it next. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Mazda, moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. And there are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week, with the Cardinals having their bye week last week, it's Garrett Williams somehow miraculously getting, designated to return practicing again after that really bad knee injury in the fourth quarter against Carolina. Walter Nolan looking spry after his calf. We'll see if he goes Monday night. Those two guys could be what unlocks this, this next level, this fourth quarter defense that's been completely absent, taking Ambien so far through 7 weeks. And that's something that could absolutely move the Cardinals game forward for the rest of the season as they try to claw back into relevancy. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals, that was a weird note, is brought to you by FanDuel. NBA's back. The NBA has gone bananas. The scoring output, Laker fan, Austin Reeves balling out without Luka and LeBron. I mean, dude, there have been so many high-scoring games, high-point scores. The NBA is back and at an absolute fever pitch. There's no better place to get in on the action, though, than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start to the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right. Cam Cox, Channel 12. What's up? The defense. Here's the thing. Oh, first off, go to the YouTube channel, search Locked In Arizona Cardinals. Hit subscribe button, notifications, so you can see my big dumb face. You don't have to set an alarm. YouTube does it for you. Big brain stuff. I'm just going to start. I'm going to rebrand this Locked On Cardinals Big Brain. The defense has been so fun for 45 minutes every game this year, outside of maybe Seattle, where the offense decided to take a snooze for the first 3 quarters before coming back in the fourth. Let me give you some numbers here, okay? The Arizona Cardinals have a plus 20-point differential in the first quarter, a plus 8-point differential in the second quarter, a plus 18 differential in the third quarter, and a minus 47-point differential in the fourth. They're giving up as many points collectively in the first 3 quarters of the first 7 weeks as they are in the fourth quarter of those 7 games. What is the disconnect before we pivot to can they level up that we're seeing outside of early on, the offense not playing very well that yields them to be on the field more and also game script? Like, do you see anything else besides that?
Well, Alex, first of all, I think a lot of it is human nature. You know what I mean? Like, I think the offense has to play better early on in games. I think that puts a lot of stress on a defense late To me, that's been the biggest difference for me in the fourth quarter. Like, if that offense gets rolling and gives them a little bit of break in the first 3 quarters, like they're holding on for dear life. And come to fourth quarter, they've been on the field a lot. You know what I mean? And so, like, the offense can't cash in and different things. Like, it puts a lot of stress on the defense late. I will say, just like we've seen in some of these close games where the offense gets a little conservative and they're not going for the throat, you know what I mean? I do think there's some scheme issues late where the defense gets a little bit conservative too. And so I think that's part of it. I think it's part that the offense kind of disappears the first 3/4%, you know what I mean? And the defense then has to hold on for dear life in the fourth quarter. So I think it's a combo of that. I would, in general, I say this offensively too as well. I'd like to see the Cardinals more aggressive. We've seen that the past couple of weeks, and they've won some battles, you lose some battles. To me, I can live with some of that. You know what I mean? You're going after a quarterback, and he makes a great throw, and it's just you're half a second late on the sack, or the ball goes right past the defender's hands. You're right there to make a play. It doesn't happen. I can live with some of that. That's just you win some, you lose some of those. To me, I just like them being aggressive. We've seen some of that these past 2 games where it just hasn't gone their way. You know what I mean? So I want to see them keep doing that. But to me, it's a combo of 2 things when it comes to that. I think partly they just get a little conservative for my liking. I'd like them to see them go some no risk it, no biscuit late in the fourth quarter in general. And then I think the offense has to do more in games to spark the defense. To me, it's all connected. I've always thought football like that is connected. You can't just expect the defense shut them out the whole game long. That's not how it works. It's just unrealistic. So I do think the offense needs to be a little better early on, help the defense out.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, and I've been on that side also. Jonathan Taylor just ate him alive. The first drive of the fourth and the last drive, it was, whatever. What's the stupid cliche that people use? A warm knife through butter. Like it's like, so you could say, oh, it's Jonathan Taylor and that offensive line's good, especially the left side, and they absolutely tortured the Cardinals and they couldn't tackle in the fourth quarter. Green Bay, same kind of thing late, but like to the point of the offense, the Cardinals through 5 weeks had 4 chances to end the game in victory formation and they couldn't.
They could.
That's it. And in the history of Kyler Murray's tenure, they can't. It doesn't matter if it's – now there's come from behind, wins. They had 4 in a row going to the bye week last year, or they had a couple going, and then they, as part of the 4-game win streak. But victory formation, 2 minutes, 2 first downs, game over, can't do it.
Yeah, so to that point, Alex, that's why I think it puts a lot of stress on the go in the game. Go in the game. Take it off, take it off their plate. Don't put another thing on the defense's plate. I'm big into history, and we've seen so many Cardinal games in like that, right? So take it off, go in the clock if you're the offense, and don't give it back to a hot offense that's clearly building momentum. Yeah, and I believe in momentum in the fourth quarter like that. And so if an offense has chances to do it, you got to do it. And to me, that's putting yes, if you ask Calais Campbell this question, he'll tell you we got to play better defense. You know what I mean? They're not gonna make it excuses. We got to play better defense. We got to come up with that stop. We can't let them do this. Yes, you're right. But the flip side to that is your team had a chance to end it, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, we'll get to the violence part that I want to ask you. What can the next level be? But I mean, for me, and we haven't talked in a while, and there's been a bye week. They haven't played football in 2 years, it seems like. The 4th and 1 call with 5 minutes left, up 3 against Green Bay. It's like, okay, that was the first glaring time where after I saw that play call, I'm like, JG's in over his head. Immediately. Because here's the thing. And that may not be fair, but it's fair at the same time. When you have Jalen Hurts and the best offensive line in football, they've got a bleep and flying V behind him during tush pushes. They had Bam Knight and me back there with an interior defensive line that was pressuring from the interior the entirety of the game, led by Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons. And you run Jacoby Brissett with a feather on his back?
Well, Alex, just to make this even worse, Micah was on the sideline for that play.
Oh, sweet. Thank you for that.
Fantastic.
So
they actually, the cameras cut to him celebrating after his defense without him. So
you look at that, and then you have a chance, 100% the right play to go for it, of course. Throw the ball. Or run a spread option to get outside of the interior of the defensive line. that the offense continues to not set the defense up for success, and the defense has not gotten a stop outside of the Calais Campbell sack on Bryce Young after every single cornerback got hurt that quarter, and then the safety and the holding in the end zone that resulted in the safety. Cardinals 3 and out, and then warm knife through butter against San Francisco. Like, they have not gotten a stop when they absolutely needed it either in the fourth quarter, regardless of how long they're on the field. So there is some, you've got to look at it and be like, Nicky baby, what are we doing here? Where are the exotic? Like, you don't save this Pandora's box for when you absolutely need it. You needed it last week or 2 weeks ago. You need it now, and you need it moving forward. Throw the house at this. They've got so many good DBs to where blitz, these guys are going to be able to cover for 3 seconds, especially with Garrett Williams back. Like, maybe that'll unlock it, especially with Walter Nolan if he plays in the quick twitch in the middle.
Yeah, with Nolan getting healthy, I agree with you. Like, sit in the house. Like, that's what this defense to me is built around, getting after the quarterback. So you got to get after the quarterback. To that 4th and 1 play, I didn't make me scream that JG was in over his head. He trusts his offensive coordinator to make calls. And yes, JG can hear it. Yes, JG can click over and be like, don't you dare run that play, run something. You know what I mean? But you trust who you hire to call the right plays. And then if it doesn't work, you reevaluate it, usually what coaches do later in the week. I did have an issue with that play call, the same issue that you had too as well. I didn't like who you had behind the tush push. You know what I mean? Get Kelvin, get Isaiah Adams. You know what I mean? Get some big boys back there and let's move this pile forward. Yeah. It speaks to me, not JG. It's a bigger issue with this current offensive staff, and some of the inexperience that they have is showing. And I don't think they coach the details on offense very well. At least it hasn't shown up this year. Say it again.
You pointing at Justin Fry?
Possibly. I mean, when you lose experienced coaches, that hurts. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying he is a massive loss for the Cardinals. I'm just saying this group, from what my eyes tell me, they have not coached the details well enough. They need to do a better job of doing that. A play like that, to me, screams some of that, because it's like, obviously they see it now, you know what I mean? But like, just looking at who you got back, you just got to know that's not going to work. You know what I mean? Or to me, that's me saying that. I think they need to just coach the details better on offense. I like the play decision to go for it. I did not like the play call.
Yeah, and not being able to see it in the moment means you're in over your head. You're not prepared enough to be able to make that call in that high, because they see it. You win this game, everything is back. You win this game, you salvage 3 and 4 when you probably should be, 6 and 1 at that point if you win that game. But they didn't again, and the defense didn't stop anybody again, and the Cardinals had a chance to win the game again, and they didn't.
When you lose all these close games, Alex, there's questions about coaching. That's just what it is. Yeah. There are questions about coaching, and that's where they're at right now. That's why I said earlier there's just bigger issues. I like JG, I like Nick Ross. You know what I mean? Yeah. For what we've seen from Drew, I think he calls a decent game. I don't really have the biggest issues. There have been plays to be made there all year. Early in the year, his receivers kept dropping balls. You know what I mean? And first downs were there, touchdowns were there. You make some of those plays, this whole season looks different offensively, right? So I don't have the biggest problem with them, but to me, and the way these games have come down to me, it is coaching, and like I said, offensively, I think they missed some of the details offensively.
I've said for a long time, and it looks very different now, but it's kind of the same. The only thing worse than having a problem is not knowing what the root of the problem is. Yeah. And we don't know what the root of their problem is. Week 9, year 3, quarterback 1, we don't know what the root of the problem is this year. And that is a very, very dangerous game when there's no safety net after this season if things go awry.
No, but that's what you're going to find out here soon, Alex. Yeah. I mean, listen, they can't go 3-13 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They can't go 5 and whatever, and people keep their jobs. I'm just sorry. That's just the reality of it. I don't know what else I'm sure Michael will tell you that. I haven't asked him anything about anybody's job or anything like that, but I don't know if you can do that with all the money you've spent and what the resources you put into this team, and for them to end up like that. I think would be a disaster. What you're going to find out here is this the group that we thought they were, or are they a team that just can't win? And we're about to find out, and we'll know pretty quickly. We'll know fairly quickly in these next couple of games. They will tell you all you need to know. If they can get back to 500 and get back at somewhat in the conversation, okay, you got some things you can build upon. But if you go 4 and whatever, 5 and what, you know what I mean? Like that's the wrong direction. You don't run something like that back. You don't. Or you make drastic changes after, especially after the changes you've made leading up to this point.
So I know why things haven't been righted. Michael Bidwell decided to not call the Casitas Cardcitas, and that was a nightmare decision among many others to not brand it that way. But hey, listen,
he's building a new practice.
You can have a day of luxury on the side of the field. So at least, you've got those, which is, good for you. Good for you. Locked On Cardinals, I'm not going to let you do it. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. I'm not going to let you do it. But with that said, 2-5, 13 points differential that they've lost by in the last 5 losses. Is there a chance that if they continue to do the things the right way, or if they do the things the right way with the healthiest the defense has been and the roster has been altogether since week 2, is there a chance? I'll channel my inner Jim Carrey next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Rougiette. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything, and we've heard them all before. It's just stress. I'm tired. It happens to everybody sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. It's super simple. So you connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, so there's no awkward waiting rooms or anything like that. If prescribed, your treatment shipped discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, private. It's handled all by real doctors. Visit rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNFL so they know we sent you. Rougiette, stop making excuses. Start making moves, man. All right, Cam Cox. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, bro. Like this is year 9 of the show, 15 years. I mean, it's bananas. It's crazy. Okay, so the positives that we've seen taken out of the negatives, the rose in the sandstorm, or whatever you want to call it. 13-point they've lost by the last, in the 5 losses. Okay, Dan Orlovsky tweeted this out. I believe it was something to the effect of the Arizona Cardinals have the 3rd best point differential for a team that started 2-5. And the other 2 teams have made the playoffs that year. Okay, so this is the best case of a nightmare scenario 7 games in. Is there a world in the rational sense of it where if Kyler Murray or Jacoby Brissett has competent offensive outputs with the scheme by Drew Petzing, and the defense is able to level up to the level that we think they could be when they're fully healthy with Garrett Williams back, that they could be looking at that overlay in week 14 and be a team that's in the hunt. I'm not looking at, they're 100% going to make the playoffs. Sure. In the hunt 6 weeks from now. Is that so far out of reach? Or if a couple things bounce their way, they could be there?
Listen, I'm going to answer that question twofold. All right, Alex. One, if you ask a normal Cardinal fan, they're going to tell you, hell no. Right. We've seen this story. I've watched this movie. I've seen every season with the Cardinals. I know how this script is. You know what I mean? Yep. It's almost like you could probably write how this season is going to end. There's a really good chance Cardinal fans can predict it and it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because we've seen it. We've done it. We've been through it. People have, the Valley is sports fans in general. We just know how these movies ends, right? Now, your question. Yes, there is a possibility and a reality. I believe JG when he says they're close. They are close. These losses are right there. You make a few more plays here and there, catch a ball, don't drop a pass, convert this, run out the clock here, make a tackle there. The ball doesn't get kicked around like a pinball. Who's pulling that puppet upstairs? Yeah. And you know what I mean? So, they are right there. Listen, this is still a talented football team. Look at this roster. There's a lot of talent on this roster. Other teams are winning with less. Yep. So when you ask me, is there a chance that they can win some ball games, get back to 500, and possibly be in some conversations at the end of the year? Yes. Are they going to have to do something that, one, we haven't seen from a JG team or a recent Cardinal team in a while? Yes, which is win in the back half of the year. Is Kyler Murray going to have to do something that he hasn't done in his career, which, again, win in the back half of his career? Yes. They are going to have to buck the trend, in a sense, that the Cardinals have that's lingered with this franchise for a long time. This schedule is the hardest remaining schedule in the NFL. They play some tough teams coming up. That's why we thought we did the football on paper math was like, hey, if they can build a good, record to start the year, okay, it gets tougher. You win 3 or 4 games, boom, you're right there in the conversation. They're going to have to win 85, 90, 92, 95% of their games the rest of the way. I don't want to put a number on it. You just got to win most of them, flat out. It's almost like a playoff the rest of the way. But you got to start by just getting back to 500. And then you got to do something that Cardinal teams typically haven't done, which is win the back half of the year. Let's get through November and reevaluate, because I think November is just very key. Get back in the conversation, get back close to 500, get back to where you can be in contention with some things. And then in December, go buck the trend, go win some games late, and put yourself in a conversation. So, yes, there is talent on this team, Alex. You won't be able to convince me otherwise. I picked them to win 12 games, and I'll say it again. I know egg is somewhere. I get it. But I did that because, one, I'm around this team a lot. 2, I thought this offense was ready to take the next step. I'm cool with being loyal and doubling down with guys. And so I thought we were going to see a lot of that. I think the receivers have gotten better throughout the year. And 3 or 4, there's a lot of talent on this defense. So can they do it? Yes. Will they do it? I think is the $1 million question. And I understand Cardinal fans when they say hell no, because they've seen this story before.
If they put up 13 points and the offense looks terrible, is there a 5% chance they trade Kyler Murray before the trade deadline?
I don't know. That's
it was hypothetical. It was rhetorical.
No. I don't know that by any means. I've never heard any Kyler trade talk by any of that. If they put up 13 points, I'm not even going to say trade conversation, Alex, but this just goes back to who gives you the chance to win. If they put up 13 points against this defense, it is a fair question to ask which quarterback gives you the better chance to win. And I think the Cardinals have a tough decision ahead of them if the offense goes backwards.
Yeah. And I don't think
barring massive injuries and you know what I'm saying like that. But if this offense goes backwards and Kyler can't do some things, the conversations are there. And they're going to continue the rest of the season. Yeah. And that's why this next month, this game, what's coming up, like you can get back in the conversation, win some football games to do so. But this next month, and really this Monday night, is gonna tell Cardinal fans, the Cardinals in general, what the future holds for this team.
And because here's the thing, and this is a real conversation, because you talked about a bridge guy with Jacoby Brissett. Here's the thing: if Kyler Murray looks bad, okay, and whatever, you're like, okay, they lose, whatever, and then he plays in Seattle and he looks worse, which chances are he would against that defense, against the Cardinals defense. I know we're speaking in hypotheticals here.
You get down the road on me, man.
Yeah, but there's a real world. We're already down the road. We're at the cul-de-sac. There's a real world where you could have a conversation and say, you know what, next year is going to look potentially like you're drafting a quarterback and starting Jacoby Brissett. Because for what people think, it's like, oh, trade for a quarterback. Cool. You want to trade for Joe Burrow? Cincinnati'd surely give him up. There's no good quarterback that would be traded. So you're going to have to trade Kyler Murray. You bring in a bridge who you already have, and you draft a rookie, and you hope. So you start Jacoby Brissett for the last 8 games so we can get used to this team, and you roll with him next year. That momentum is real. Winning momentum going to the next year isn't. That's a conversation that is tabled. But if they don't look good Monday night against the worst defense in the NFL, there's no use in waiting anymore. Truly.
And I'm just, and again, I'll go back to this. that's just not a quarterback conversation.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Just so I know everybody wants to harp on that.
Yeah.
That's just not a quarterback conversation. That's an everybody conversation.
Yep.
And that's the reality. That's the reality.
Where they can find
But
you.
there's also a word. Kyler goes out there, plays really good in Dallas, lights the world on fire, and everything is good. Like if that happens, then everything's fine, and this offense can get back on track, and they can really start building something. Like to me, they got the talent to do that. And if that happens, that goes to show they've invested in the right people. And I'm hoping that happens.
Well,
because Kyler Murray's put a lot into this team. He's put a lot into this city. And I hope it all works out. But at the flip side of that is conversations are going to get tough if this streak of losing continues. Yeah. And that's, like I said, it's just not a quarterback thing.
Right.
That's everybody.
Well, and now you're going to force me to do a 2-part episode on Friday. Surprise, everybody. You're going to get 2 parts. Because I want to ask about, because this begs the question, because all these conversations need to be front loaded for what happens Monday night, because this could get very serious very quickly. But what I've said on this show this entire year is what Jonathan Gannon has done to this culture is unquantifiable. Okay. In the locker room, this is not what Steve Keim was doing. This is not before then. It's a different culture that's not fractured. Sure, in between the lines hasn't been the best, but this is something that needs to last. Okay, you keep a unified front for the rest of the year. What is firing Drew Petzing going to do? Well, somebody's got to pay for it. No. Cool, let him go at the end of the year. I'm keeping everybody, regardless of what happens, until the end of the year, because that stuff is longer lasting. If you do that, it's fractured. You're the Browns. Like, everything's fractured if you fire somebody, even if maybe you don't re-up them, or you don't fire them midseason. Do you agree or disagree?
Real quick, did you hear my slap, man? I'm fighting mosquitoes in this house, man.
Dang.
Man, they are everywhere in this city. Man, we can't, it's nice outside. We can't even sit outside and enjoy the weather because of mosquitoes. What a time to be in the valley. First of all, they're not firing Drew Petzing during the season. Yeah. There's no one on that offensive staff, and I like the coaches. There's no one on that offensive staff who I would hand the play calling duty to. That's just what it is. So sorry, folks. They're not firing Drew during the season. That's just what it is. Okay. Alex, I agree. I think this culture is really, really good. It reminds me a lot of when BA and Steve ran the thing, and players like playing for JG. I say that all the time, and I get pushback on social media. They're like, "What culture? They're losing." Yes, they're losing. But as someone who spends time in that locker room, as someone who spends time talking with guys on and off the field, as someone who knows a lot of players on that team and hears them talk about JG as a person and as a coach and as a man and as a father, and like there is a real culture there. People like coming to work for the Cardinals, plain and simple. They like showing up. They like playing for this guy. They like being in that locker room. They like each other on this team. There's not this angst that I've seen in some teams in years past. You know what I mean? So there is a real culture there. They've done a really good job of creating a sense of accountability. And you saw that with JG too as well, with the Amari situation right on the sidelines. I mean, there's examples all throughout this thing. JG listens to guys. He tries to put guys in the best position possible. He has real conversations with them about different things. He holds people accountable. Does he always need to tell me that? No. Is he always going to tell fans that in front of an open mic? No. But I can promise you behind the scenes, things are moving. Furniture's moving. They're holding people accountable back there. So he reminds me of a lot, the culture reminds me of a lot of when BA was there. Things that Calais has said. Very similar when they talk about the head coach, how he used to talk about BA playing here back in the day 10 years ago, talks about JG in the same light. I hope that culture continues because that's hard to find too as well. We didn't see a lot of that under Steve Wilkes, even though I really like Steve. We didn't see a lot of this same type of tight-knit team under Cliff, even though I know players liked Cliff. It was the accountability wasn't there. And so they've brought a lot of that back. So I do hope this culture gets more chances to continue and build off of. And I do think JG and his guys can figure out ways to win. But bottom line, Alex, you have to win. We say all this, it's great. They have to win. They got to produce results at the end of the day.
Yeah. Culture doesn't matter in the win-loss column.
But it matters going to work when you're training and all that other stuff. And that's why I'm saying they have the culture to win.
Yep.
You just have to learn how to win football games.
And what is the one thing, if you had to think, like, when you say word association, whatever, it's like, what's the word association for one score losses?
Oh, I got
Coaching.
one. Oh, what were you going to say?
Coaching.
Sorry.
One score losses, 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Coaching.
I was going to say mosquitoes.
Oh, you were?
But I like. Well,
this sucks you dry. Also, this sucks you dry losing 5 games.
I like your word better.
Yeah, no, but that's it. It's like, listen, if you're constantly losing close games, that's coaching.
That's coaching.
It's coaching,
and I think most coaches. I think most coaches would agree with that.
Yeah,
I think most coaches.
So both. That's the trouble with the oil and water of, like, everything is set up, and then it's a Ponzi scheme when it needs to produce. Yeah. Like, this is a hollow team every moment that needs production in the fourth quarter. Legitimately every single one.
Yeah.
So aside from the safety in San Francisco, they've had scores late where they've taken leads, but this is a 3-quarter team, and 3-quarter teams may as well just be a bad team, which is really frustrating because they look really good for large chunks of games. Cam, tell people where they can find you, man.
And they got enough talent to win. So yeah. Cam Cox 12 at Twitter and on Instagram. As always, 12 Sports Locker Room after Sunday Night Football, after Big Ten football on Saturdays, 12 Sports Tonight at 10:30, and as always on 12 News too as well.
Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Remember, without you, there is no me. Q&A tomorrow at 10 o'clock Arizona Cardinals time. Following the game, I'll be doing my live reaction for 15 minutes in the Cardinal Squad show immediately following.
And we set a new record, man.
Yeah,
we've been going a long time here, dude.
Oh, here's the thing. Everybody, I don't edit my videos. I choose not to because I want you to see the real me. I don't know what the hell I'm going to package this as. So we'll figure it out. It's going to be awesome. You'll get it all tomorrow. I will talk to you for Q&A tomorrow, 10 a.m.